is Your Life, a program for all America. Brought to you by Crest toothpaste with Fluorestan, the toothpaste that stops soft spots from turning into cavities, and Liquid Prel shampoo. And now here he is, Mr. This Is Your Life himself, Ralph Edwards.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to present to you two very charming and interesting ladies. First, a lady who's been working among the most primitive and most savage Indian tribes in Peru and Ecuador, Miss Rachael Saint. And her traveling companion and good friend, the very first member of the fierce Auca tribe ever to leave the jungles of Ecuador, Dayumae. Hello, Dayumae. Oh, hello there, Miss Saint. How are you?
Hello.
And Quinani? Quinani, is that a good word? Oh, that's a good word. Miss Saint, I know you've been out of this country for several years. Have you ever heard or seen a television program called This Is Your Life?
No, I haven't.
Well,
I've heard of it.
We figured you wouldn't. That's why we have gone much more obvious in our detail, and we would, you see. You'll know a great deal more about the program before the next half hour is over. We have a lot of happy surprises in store for you. The first of which is that you and Dayumae were not necessarily brought up here from South America just for conferences and lectures, but because we wanted to tell your inspiring life story. Tonight, Rachael Saint of Pennsylvania, Peru, and Ecuador, this is your life. Would you take Dayumae to her on the farther part of that couch, usually on the first there, and you'll have to act as interpreter. You sit here, Miss Saint. Dayumae there. Yes. Yes, there we are. Right there. You here, Miss Saint. Yeah, there we are. Miss Saint, as a member of the Summer Institute of Linguistics of the Wycliffe Bible Translators, just what is your work there among the South American Indians?
Our work is going where there is no written language, where the language has never been analyzed, never reduced to writing, and
yes,
learning that language, and that is trying to learn it, analyzing it, writing it, and then teaching the Indians.
Establishing alphabets, translating the Bible into native languages.
And then that, of course, is our main objective, to have God's Word in the language to teach Indians who live in their heathen beliefs of the living God,
yes,
who gave himself for them.
Feeling that the gospel could have more meaning to these primitive people in their own native tongue. Hello, Dayumae. How are you? All right. Dayumae speaks only the language of the Aucas, a tribe that is actually still living in the Stone Age, having not even yet learned to dwell in communities, still living in scattered and isolated family units along jungle streams and rivers. Of course, both Peru and Ecuador are important South American nations with great cities and highly cultured people. The Indians we are speaking of live in the primitive jungle areas of these countries. It was a group of Auca Indians, members of Dayumae's tribe, who were responsible for the massacre last year of 5 young missionaries on the banks of the Curaray River in Ecuador. Your fine young brother Nate was one of them. Miss Saint, is that right?
Yes.
And yet today, Rachael Saint, you're working with other members of this very same most feared and ferocious tribe, trying to lift them out of the Stone Age and bring Christianity to them. And we'll certainly want to hear all about that. And I know you may want to make Dayumae feel even more at ease, so you just relax there for a moment and talk to her. Would you do that, please? We'll get her reaction in just a moment. First, let's listen to the ballad of a roughneck, a driller for oil, named Tony Lyle.
Drilling for oil. Now, somewhere west of Big Coast lives a kid named Tony Lyle. And all day long he's singing a song and grinning a big tooth smile. That healthy smile's no secret, with wisdom he is blessed. Each day he fights old tooth decay with a toothpaste they call Crest.
Tony's wise. You be wise, too, because chances are you've got soft spots in your teeth. And soft spots can turn to cavities unless you turn to Crest. Yes, Crest does something no other kind of toothpaste can do. Hardens those weak places and stops them from turning into cavities. That's because of Crest's own special fluoride, Fluorestan.
And Crest freshens your breath. Tastes wonderful. So make Crest your family toothpaste and put your fears to rest. Soft spots can turn to cavities unless you turn to Crest. Crest is best. Crest is best. Crest is best.
Just think, ladies and gentlemen, in a 12-hour flight, Dayumae has bridged a 10,000-year gap from the Stone Age to the present. And you, Rachael Saint, often at the risk of your life, are helping bridge that gap of time not only for Dayumae, but for other primitive South American Indians as well. Now, I wonder if you'll ask Dayumae to take a seat back there. Did you enjoy the airplane trip here, Dayumae? Did you?
Well, I came.
Well, I came. What did you think of the ocean? It's the first time you'd seen the ocean, I believe. What did she say?
The big water I saw, I came well. Vita Gutimati Apanika Nimu Alvaina Young Elongina. Ayumono, I bet. She saw the stars in the water. Reflected in the water. The jungle streams run too fast to see that.
I think, would she mind sitting back there, maybe out of the spotlight for a while? She might feel more at ease, and we'll proceed. The first chair, sorry. We'll proceed with This Is Your Life. Courageous missionary from the jungles of Ecuador, Rachael Saint. Let's leave the jungles of Ecuador and Peru now. Rachael Saint, the Stone Age Indians who have no written language, and return to Pennsylvania, to Jenkintown, the place of your beginning. The date, January 2nd, 1914.
When Rachael arrived, she had 2 brothers waiting for her. And by the time she was 14, she had 5 more brothers, 7 in all.
Your dad, Rachael, here to surprise you from his home in Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania, Mr. Lawrence Saint. This is how This Is Your Life works. I told you we'd have. This is how This Is Your Life works, Miss Saint. That's all right. You can come on, sit over here. Dayumae can stay there. And your mother, Rachael, wasn't quite up to the trip, but she's at home there. She says, "Sit down, Dad," she says. She's watching in Pennsylvania. Rachael, your mother is watching in Pennsylvania, sending her love.
That's good. That saved me the trouble sending a telegram.
Yes, it did. 1 girl among 7 boys. That's quite a spot for a gal to be in, Mr. Saint, isn't it?
Well, I used to go around speaking sometimes, and I'd tell people I had 7 sons. And every one of them had a sister, but I didn't tell them it was the same sister, so they thought we had 14 children.
Your father's an artist, isn't he, Miss Saint?
Yes, he is.
And stained glass windows.
Yes, yes. Good many lovely windows I'd like to see again in Washington Cathedral.
Right.
In the Capitol.
And you, Rachael, were the model for one of those windows.
You're supposed to not know these things.
Oh. Well, Mr. Saint is now retired, of course. We say that so everybody won't be writing in to say, please fix make a stained glass window for us. But we are very honored to have you with us, sir. Was Rachael helpful around the house with all those younger brothers, Mr. Saint?
Oh, yes, she was very practical. And when we had to go to Spain to make some special studies, why, she took over the whole ranch, you know, and had the kids all washed and fed and lined up in church, you know, in a row. And he was very practical.
Yes, sir.
Good thing she was. She was sort of a little mother, you know.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and so did her devotion to the Word of God. Remember, Rachael, how you used to read missionary stories to Nate and some of the smaller children?
Your oldest brother, a pilot for American Airlines, is here from Hicksville, Long Island, to represent all your brothers, Captain Samuel Saint. Here's your brother. Bring her out here, Sam. Bring Rachael out here. That's it. Come on out here, Rachel. You too, Sam. Oh, I see. Did Rachel, if you want, you can put Dayumae over here. Did Rachel manage to hold her own with all you boys, Sam?
She certainly did, Ralph. Rachel was always had enough self-confidence, and when situations had to be met, she met them head-on and with great courage, usually.
A trait that was to be helpful to you later on, Rachel.
In high school, Rachel was an excellent student and a leader of others. She was on the debating team and played basketball and hockey.
You're right. Your childhood and high school pal who still lives in Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania, Pearl Walsh, now Mrs. Woodrow Adcock, and here she is.
Say hello to my girl. She won't understand.
You two were the closest of friends from the first grade through high school. Come on, stand up here, folks, so we can all see you. Come on, Rachel. Through high school in Huntington Valley, weren't you, Burrow?
Yes, we were. And then when Rachel finished high school, she helped her mother at home for quite a few years. And in 1934, we entered the Philadelphia School of the Bible and studied there for 4 years.
Right. Would you be happier with Dayumae by your side?
No, it's all
right. In 1938,
you go... say hello to her, too.
Oh, well, you go say hello to Dayumae so she'll understand that. In 1938, you go to work at Keswick Colony of Mercy in Keswick Grove, New Jersey, a non-denominational institute for rehabilitation of alcoholics.
Do you remember the fire in the administration building, Rachel?
Yes, the son of the founder of Keswick Colony, and for 47 years its director. Here's your good friend, Dr. Addison Ross. Here he is. What happened in that fire, Dr. Ross? What happened in the fire?
When the fire broke out that night, Rachel remembered a former worker who was blind, who was still with us, and she rushed to her room and led her safely down the stairway amid smoke and flames to safety. Rachel lost everything she had in that fire, but she had no thought of attempting to save any of her own things, just a great desire to lead that helpless blind woman out to the way of escape.
One more signpost pointing toward the courageous life that awaited you in South America, Rachel. You better go over there and say hello to Dayumae, Dr. Ross. Our thanks to all of you for sharing this preparatory part of Rachel's life with her and with us. Father, Mr. Saint, thank you. And Brother Sam, Burl, Mrs. Woodrow Adcock, and Dr. Ross. You'll see you all. See you later. Thank you. You'll see them all again, Rachel, right after the program at the party. You may be seated. In your honor at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, where they've all been staying. 1948, 1949, you're attending classes at the University of Oklahoma in Norman. What were you studying there, Rachel?
Linguistics.
Right, the summer session...
Of the Summer Institute of Linguistics at the University of Oklahoma.
Your brother Nate was already in missionary aviation. Your course in linguistics at Oklahoma complete. You're sent first to Chiapas, Mexico for jungle training. This is a completely new experience for you, Rachel. For example, you used to cringe at the sight of the tiniest harmless spider, but after your jungle training, what about that?
Well, it was a help.
You carefully looked over everything that walked, didn't you?
Instead of looking at the tall trees, you look at the trail.
Ah. Survival in the jungle could someday depend upon this knowledge. 1950, the goal you've studied and trained so hard for is now in your grasp. As you're sent to Peru to work with a girl who has pioneered with one of the most savage of all Peruvian Indian tribes, the Chapras.
The Chapras are headhunters, fierce and ruthless, feared not only by the whites, but by all Indian tribes in north-central Peru.
Yes, Rachel, that companion with whom you first faced the Chapra Indians and whom we've brought here tonight from a native village near the Morona River, a great and brave pioneer, Laurie Anderson. Here's Laurie. What'd you say? How did we get here?
I never saw this program. We haven't always looked like this when we were together.
Well, I tell you what, we can use missionaries in this country, too, believe me, and I know that your life tonight will be an inspiration to the 30 million people watching, and you can feel that you're doing God's work in this way. Now, Laurie, when you first went in to make contact with the Chapras, why didn't they kill you?